will never guess. Like and subscribe for weekly videos. In the comments below, list one topic you think should be in a top 10 video and comment if you subscribed to this channel. Most people know about the Crusades but know very little about the cause and effect of them. This list explains the main 8 Crusades. There were additional Crusades in later years but they were much smaller and had little effect, therefore they are not included here. Further information on the Crusades can be found at Wikipedia, Encyclopedia Britannica, and the Catholic Encyclopedia. Some slight variations in start and end dates exist. At the time of the Crusades, Europe was divided into states whose rulers were involved in petty territorial disputes. In Jerusalem, the most popular site for pilgrimages in medieval Europe, at the time, the Seleucian Turks were gaining power and Europe saw it as a threat to the safety of the pilgrims and to Christendom. In 1070 Jerusalem was taken, and in 1071 Diogenes, the Greek emperor, was defeated and made captive at Manzikert. Asia Minor and all of Syria became the prey of the Turks. Antioch succumbed in 1084, and by 1092 not one of the great metropolitan sees of Asia remained in the possession of the Christians. 8. The First Crusade, 1095 to 1101. In March 1095, Ambassador Senator Byzantine Emperor Alexius the First defending his empire against the Seljuk Turks. Later that year, at the Council of Clermont, Pope Urban II called upon all Christians to join a war against the Turks, promising an indulgence for those who died in the service of the army. Crusader armies managed to defeat 2 substantial Turkish forces at Dorylaeum and at Antioch, finally marching to Jerusalem with only a fraction of their original forces. In 1099, they took Jerusalem by assault and created small Crusader states which were the Kingdom of Jerusalem. 7. The Second Crusade, 1145–47. After a period of relative peace in which Christians and Muslims coexisted in the Holy Land, Muslims conquered the town of Edessa. A new crusade was called for by various preachers, most notably by Bernard of Clairvaux. French and German armies, under the kings Louis VII and Conrad III respectively, marched to Jerusalem in 1147 but failed to accomplish any major successes. By 1150, both leaders had returned to their countries without any resistance. 6. The Third Crusade, 1188–92. In 1187, Saladin, the Sultan of Egypt, captured Jerusalem. Pope Gregory VIII called for a crusade which was undertaken by King Richard I of England, Richard the Lionheart, Holy Roman Emperor Frederick I, and King Philip II of France. They defeated the Muslims near Arsuf and were in sight of Jerusalem. However, due to an inadequate food and water supply, the crusade ended without the taking of Jerusalem. Richard left the following year after establishing a truce with Saladin. This crusade is sometimes referred to as the King's Crusade. Pope Gregory VIII did not live to see the end of this crusade. 5. The Fourth Crusade, 1204. The Fourth Crusade was initiated in 1202 by Pope Innocent III, with the intention of invading the Holy Land through Egypt. Because the Crusaders lacked the funds to pay for the fleet and provisions that they had contracted from the Venetians, Doge Enrico Dandolo enlisted them to restore to obedience the Christian city of Zara, Zadar. Because they subsequently lacked provisions and time on their vessel lease, the leaders decided to go to Constantinople, where they attempted to place a Byzantine exile on the throne. After misunderstandings and outbreaks of violence, the Crusaders sacked Constantinople. For the Fifth Crusade, 1217, by processions, prayers, and preaching, the Church attempted to set another crusade on foot, and the Fourth Council of the Lateran, 1215, formulated a plan for the recovery of the Holy Land. In the first phase, a crusading force from Hungary, Austria joined the forces of the King of Jerusalem and the Prince of Antioch to take back Jerusalem. In the second phase, Crusader forces achieved a remarkable feat in the capture of Dumyat in Egypt in 1219, but under the urgent insistence of the papal legate, Pelagius, they proceeded to a foolhardy attack on Cairo, and an inundation of the Nile compelled them to choose between surrender and destruction. 3. The Sixth Crusade, 1228–29, 1239. Emperor Frederick II had repeatedly vowed a crusade but failed to live up to his words, for which he was excommunicated by Pope Gregory IX in 1228. He nonetheless set sail from Brindisi, landed in Palestine, and through diplomacy he achieved unexpected success. Jerusalem, Nazareth, and Bethlehem were delivered to the Crusaders for a period of 10 years. This was the first crusade that had no papal involvement. The Pope eventually lifted the excommunication. To the Seventh Crusade, 1249–52, the papal interests represented by the Templars brought on a conflict with Egypt in 1243, and in the following year a Khwarezmian force summoned by the latter stormed Jerusalem. The Crusaders were drawn into battle at La Fourbi in Gaza. The Crusader army and its Bedouin mercenaries were outnumbered by Babar's force of Khwarezmian tribesmen and were completely defeated within 48 hours. This battle is considered by many historians to have been the death knell to the Christian states. As part of this crusade, Louis IX organized a crusade against Egypt which lasted until 1254. The Eighth Crusade, 1270. The Eighth Crusade was organized by Louis IX in 1270, again sailing from Egmont, initially to come to the aid of the remnants of the Crusader states in Syria. However, the crusade was diverted to Tunis, where Louis spent only 2 months before dying. For his efforts, Louis was later sainted. The city of St. Louis, Missouri, USA is named for him. This crusade is sometimes broken into an Eighth and Ninth Crusade. The result of this crusade was the loss of Christian rule in Syria, though it achieved a partial success in that Christian religious were allowed to live peacefully in the region. The Crusades had an enormous influence on the European Middle Ages. At times, much of the continent was united under a powerful papacy, but by the 14th century, the development of centralized bureaucracies, the foundation of the modern nation-state, was well on its way in France, England, Burgundy, Portugal, Castile, and Aragon, partly because of the dominance of the Church at the beginning of the crusading era. Although Europe had been exposed to Islamic culture for centuries through contacts in Iberian Peninsula and Sicily, much knowledge in areas such as science, medicine, and architecture was transferred from the Islamic to the Western world during the Crusade era.
Interesting secrets in Harry Potter. You will never guess what the number one secret is. Like and subscribe for weekly videos. In the comments below, list one topic you think should be in a top 10 video and comment if you subscribe to this channel. The Harry Potter series is absolutely riddled with secrets and unanswered questions. How are Muggleborns found? How do Muggleborns even come about? Who gets accepted into Hogwarts, and why? What did Dumbledore see when standing with Harry before the Mirror of Erised? Speaking of Harry, where did his enormous fortune come from? The good news is, as a bona fide Harry Potter aficionado, I have the answers to things you never even asked, and I'm here to bring them right to your screen. 10. The Book of Admittance. Hogwarts Castle has a lot of closely guarded secrets and tricks to it, from moving staircases to false doors and to hundreds, possibly thousands, of enchanted portraits. However, the best guarded secret, and the secret which answers a big question about the Harry Potter world, is the Book of Admittance. When a witch or wizard is born, even to Muggles, the book knows. When these children display sufficient magical talent, sometimes at birth, sometimes not until age 7, sometimes even later, the quill of acceptance is allowed to inscribe their names into the book, allowing them entrance into Hogwarts if they so choose. 9. Muggleborns. At one time or another, we've all asked the same question about the Harry Potter universe: how do Muggleborns get their magic? Apparently, the answer was right under our noses the whole time. They're descended in all cases from squibs. When a squib, a witch or wizard with no ability to do magic, is born, they're sent out to live among Muggles. When it's discovered that they have no magic in them, they marry Muggles and pass on their genes. A few generations down the line, the magic gene resurfaces and results in a magical child born to Muggle parents. Many in the magical community assume that Muggleborns are somehow a fluke. However, the magic gene is simply somewhat sneaky, hiding for generations before popping up unexpectedly to give some Muggle family a magic baby. Some notable Muggleborns include Moaning Myrtle, Lily Evans, Harry's mother, and Hermione Granger. 8. Dumbledore's Desire. If you recall from the book, Harry was not the only one who was often drawn to the Mirror of Erised, which, incidentally, is desire written backward. Albus Dumbledore spent many nights gazing into the mirror and not always on Philosopher's Stone business. Yet, when Harry asked Dumbledore what he saw in the mirror, Dumbledore lied, claiming that he saw himself holding a pair of thick wool socks. So, what did he actually see? According to J.K. Rowling, he simply saw his family, all alive and well. A sad but understandable desire, given the untimely demise of his parents and sister. 7. Harry's wealth. Harry is unbelievably rich. His Gringotts vault is piled with gold and silver, mountains of gold as tall as an 11-year-old. So where did it come from? What is his family legacy? As it turns out, Harry is so rich because his family created a handful of well-known medicinal and cosmetic potions, namely the Pepper Up Potion, Skelly Grow, and Sleek Easy's Hair Potion, which is what really put the family on the map. In fact, Fleamont Potter, the inventor and first distributor of Sleek Easy's, is said to have quadrupled the family fortune with the sale of the Sleek Easy's formula and company. You may remember their uses from the book. Skelly Grow regrows your bones, Pepper Up Potion knocks out a cold or flu, and Sleek Easy's Hair Potion tames even Hermione's bushy hair into a soft, silky curtain of sheen. 6. Wizard Elementary School. So, what do wizarding children do before Hogwarts? Do they just sit around waiting to go there to learn magic? Are they allowed to run around like feral dogs and just do whatever they want? No. In fact, it seems that most of their childhood is taken up with learning the basics from their parents and siblings. According to J.K. Rowling, wizardkind have a fairly solid grasp of the 3 basic subjects. Parents homeschool their children until they go off to Hogwarts. The parents must do a good job as none of the students are shown to struggle with the 3 R's, reading, writing, and arithmetic. 5. Werewolf Pups. Remus Lupin, our favorite werewolf, was famously unready to be a father, and with good reason. Werewolves like him almost never produced children, and there was no information available as to whether the child would be affected or not. After all, Bill Weasley was only clawed and gnawed by an unchanged werewolf, and it caused drastic changes in him. So, what of Teddy Lupin, Remus's son? Thankfully, J.K. Rowling says that he's not afflicted by the same illness that plagued his father. In fact, our Teddy is a metamorph magus, just like his mother, Nymphadora. For Minerva's Past, where were you when you first heard about Professor Minerva McGonagall's secret late husband, Elphinstone, and her muggle father? Was it here in this list? You're not alone. In fact, most people don't know about these well-hidden secrets, tucked away in the pages of Pottermore, along with the fact that Minerva has 2 brothers and that her father was a reverend. In fact, Minerva fell in love twice, once to a muggle named Dougal and once to a wizard named Elphinstone. Both of them died early. A past filled with heartbreak, secrets, friendship, and a ministry job isn't what we expect to find in Minerva's Past, but it's absolutely the deep character development we all deserve. 3. Sybil Trelawney's other death prediction. We're aware by now that Sybil Trelawney is a genuine psychic, even though she doesn't realize this herself. She made the Chosen One prophesy, which led to the death of Harry's parents and the eventual downfall of Voldemort. Sybil is known to be a descendant of the legendary seer Cassandra. However, most of Sybil's predictions are nothing but flim-flam, with the odd true one peppered in. Something we tend to overlook because of her trickery and shenanigans is that Sybil made a number of other right predictions throughout the series, most notably the Prophecy of 13. When asked to join the students and faculty at a table at Christmas, she declined by stating, "When 13 dine together, the first to rise will be the first to die." This was proven true later as Dumbledore, unaware that Peter Pettigrew was at the table making a total of 13 guests, rose first from the table and went on to become the first of those seated to die. 2 fake plants with real names. The names of plants in the Harry Potter series are ridiculous and magical. Names that stick in the brain, like Venomous Tentacula, aka Venomous Tentacula, and Gillyweed, are part of the charm of the universe. Mugwort, Knotgrass, and Monkshood are all plants featured in the series, and all are made up. Or are they? J.K. Rowling says that she found these in a lovely old book titled The Complete Herbal by Nicholas Culpeper. The book, now available on the internet in PDF form, contains pictures and names for 100 or so different plants. That includes other magical sounding plants such as liverwort, gillyflower, and snakeweed. While not in the Harry Potter books, they would be fantastic features in fan fiction. 1. Albus Severus Potter. The biggest question on everyone's mind since we read the prologue is, why, Harry, why would you name your child this? Why name him after a man who lied to you and a man who bullied you? Why not name him after Hagrid, who cared for you, or Remus or Sirius or Moody or even Fred? After someone who left you with pleasant memories? J.K. Rowling's absolutely heartbreaking answer on the subject, guilt. The deaths at the Battle of Hogwarts weighed upon Harry, and he never truly shook off the ghosts of that dark day. Haunted by the deaths, Harry hoped that he would be forgiven, in his own heart or by others, for what had happened by naming his son in honor of Snape. That's sad. You were never at fault, Harry. There is nothing to forgive.